presentation is Redefine Teaching and Learning with ISTE Standards. I'm Debbie Lester, and I'm doing a class from Grand Canyon University, Tech 516, and this is my project. International Society for Technology in Education, or ISTE Standards, that's what we'll be talking about today. We'll discuss the standards for educators, the standard for students, and ways to improve our professional practice. ISTE standards for educators. They're a framework used worldwide for educators to innovate their teaching practice with technology to prepare students for a world of change. It prepares them for life and for career. Implementing the ISTE standards for educators, it gives teachers guidelines and standard procedures to help students become capable, independent learners, as well as deepening the educator's practice. It encourages us to evaluate the traditional approaches to teaching, and we develop a professional learning network. ISTE standards for students help make learning a student-driven process where students are empowered, they have a voice and a choice in their learning, and it's designed to empower the student's voice and ensure that learning is a student-driven process. We need to focus on the learning goals for technology integration. We should not focus on just the tools and apps because this isn't going to give us the learning goal results that we're looking for. A lot of districts and administrators and teachers, they just view this technology in education as a necessary evil or a way to increase productivity. But the ISTE standards are about pedagogy or a way to amplify and transform learning and teaching, not about tools. Technology has the potential to decrease the gap in equity, engage and inspire students to be individuals, and get them ready for careers that do not exist at this time. The ISTE standards for educators include learning. We need to continually learn ways to improve teaching practice, ways to incorporate technology into the classroom. We need to keep learning that new technology. We need to be leaders. We need to lead our peers as well as our students to find ways to improve education by infusing technology into our teaching and learning. We need to be good citizens and set an example of how to be a good citizen in real life and in the digital world. Kids see what we're doing and they follow along with that. We need to be collaborators. We need to collaborate with students and colleagues to share ideas, resources, to set goals, and to solve problems. We need to be designers. We need to design activities, environments that support authentic learning for self-driven activities for learners. We need to facilitate learning to support student achievement with technology. And we need to analyze all of the information that we get. We need to look at the process data. We need to evaluate observations. We need to look at formal and informal assessments. And all of this needs to drive our instruction that leads to students meeting their learning goals. Implementing the ISTE standards for students. We are preparing our students for life and work in a changing world. They will have jobs that do not exist today. And we need to prepare them to learn how to be flexible and take learning in their own hands. If we just teach them how to do something, they only know how to do it. But if we teach them how to learn to do something, they can learn anything. Okay, the standards for students are empowered learner. The students use technology to demonstrate what they've learned. They are active in their learning and use technology to create, not just to create, not just to consume. And here is a quick video on dealing with empowered learners.
Students articulate and set personal learning goals, develop strategies leveraging technology to achieve them, and reflect on the learning process itself to improve learning outcomes.
We gave the children a choice of goals that they would like to know at the end of the lesson. We also asked them to choose the things that they felt that they knew now, whether it was balancing the equation or just getting the question right.
One card is like if you could do it or not, and the other one is like if you want to set a goal. Miss Yadigar has been teaching us how to teach a classmate. There's a lot of kids that don't know how to do it, so like if the other kids know, they could help other kids.
For the follow-up to this lesson.
And I really love how this empowers students to be teachers as well as learners, and for them to be aware of what it is that there is their goal. Digital citizens. Students understand that everyone has rights, responsibilities, and opportunities, and they interact in the digital world in a safe, legal, and ethical way. They use the golden rule when online and in real life. And here is a quick video on digital citizenship.
Students cultivate and manage their digital identity and reputation and are aware of the permanence of their actions in the digital world.
We did what we call Restorative Justice Circle, and it's basically a form of sharing our feelings and our ideas. I connected it to digital citizenship. We talked about how our actions have consequences. So when you hurt somebody online, it stays there. You know, it could stay there forever.
It's important because in real life you get to talk to them face to face, and on the computer you're just facing a screen. But they're still saying what they want to say on a device.
One thing that we can do is be a pro.
Okay, so making kids aware that online is like real life. Those are real people on there, not just a screen. And creative communicators. Students can communicate clearly in order to get their point across in a creative way for a variety of reasons in a mixture of platforms. And a quick excerpt from this one on creative communicators.
Students choose the appropriate platforms and tools for meeting the desired objectives of their creation or communication.
They were able to choose which literary element they wanted to focus on. From a story that we read called Why Monkeys Live in Trees, it's a folktale. Those elements include characterization, the setting, theme, elements of a folktale, and they were able to choose what a media source they wanted to represent that. So they had 6 available to them. They would be able to create a meme to illustrate characterization if that's what they chose. They were able to create a digital book if they wanted to illustrate their understanding of setting, if they wanted to create a video, if they wanted to do stop animation. Being an empowered learner, first of all, it gives the children choice. And that's important because it has meaning to them. It's not just meaningful to me as a teacher, but it had meaning to them because it was something they wanted to do. And they got.
Okay, and next is a global collaborator. Students can work with anyone around the world by using technology, and work with anyone, and to work in teams, not just teams in the classroom, but teams around the world. So here's an example of the global collaborator.
Students use digital tools to connect with learners from a variety of backgrounds and cultures, engaging with them in ways that broaden mutual understanding and learning.
I had traveled to Senegal, Africa, and the plastic garbage there is just, it's all over. You know, their infrastructure doesn't support any kind of recycling or garbage pickup. I had read this book with my class about IC2, who she decides to start cleaning up just her little village, takes plastic bags, and she makes purses out of them. First graders obviously couldn't make purses, but they could make the jump ropes. They made a video to show the high school students that I had visited in Senegal how to make jump ropes. You know, my first graders thought it was great that they were teaching high school kids how to make jump ropes. So, you know, it starts them thinking at this young age, kind of plants the seed, and you never know from these first graders who's going to be the one that helps the world.
Okay, that's great. And then innovative designer. Students use technology to design and create in an imaginative way to solve problems. And here is a quick excerpt.
Students know and use a deliberate design process for generating ideas, testing theories, creating innovative artifacts, or solving authentic problems.
The students are attempting to determine if estrogen can act as a preventative to the degradation of dopamine-producing neurons in the brain. Though we can't actually induce Parkinson's, but we can use a neurotoxin to try to simulate those Parkinsonian symptoms in zebrafish, which were our neurological model. They had experimental groups, control groups, and really kind of looking at the timing of that estrogen exposure. So they're in this whole experimental design process of constantly looking at what we did. What is it telling us? Where do we go next? Sometimes we had more questions than answers, which was really a great place to be as young scientists. So much
And having more questions than answers is a good way to continually have them questioning and wanting to continually learn. And then that brings us to knowledge constructor. In a knowledge constructor, students are not just consumers of technology, but they curate resources, they construct knowledge, and produce materials that are meaningful in their learning. In this quick excerpt,
Students plan and employ effective research strategies to locate information and other resources for their intellectual or creative pursuits.
So in this project, our public speaking students are working with elementary students, helping them form their persuasive essays.
How are you doing today?
So we had a face-to-face technology with the students, and they were able to see them in real time and collaborate with them.
The high school students taught them when they were writing their persuasive speech, they have to have their 3 main topics. Well, you have to have facts to back those topics up. A lot of times they want to give their opinion. So one of the key parts that I was really impressed with how the high school students handled what's relevant research and how to find research that's important to your point, and not just look for research that's going to support your idea, but you also have to find that research that's going to go against your idea, because this was persuasive and they have to be prepared for the rebuttals. They need to understand that it's not as simple as punching in a word and everything that comes up is fact. There's a whole world full of answers to any question, and the more accurate their research is, the more questions they're going to have, and questions equal learning.
Okay, and then there's one more ISTE standard for students, and that is computational thinker. The standard this is the standard that has had more emphasis added to it, and the goal is to help all learners, including teachers, to become computational thinkers who can use technology to think in new and different ways to solve problems. These competencies help educators build skills by teaching computational thinking across all disciplines, K through 12. And there's a quick video for a computational thinker.
Students formulate problem definitions suited for technology-assisted methods, such as data analysis, abstract models, and algorithmic thinking in exploring and finding solutions.
The focus was on an algorithm, so they had to design a dance move using steps. First, they get into groups of 4 or 5, and they have to come up with a plan, so they choreograph a dance to a song, coordinate it with each other. From there, program those steps so that the robot is able to follow their choreography. There's a lot of measurement and geometry that's involved. So some of them discovered that, oh wait, a 360 is a full turn. They didn't realize that.
And so just being able to think through these problems and work through everything is very helpful for them. And then one more video. It is for the computational thinking. already teaching these skills. We just maybe not realize it. And we need to continue on that path, because technology can help us improve our lives. It can improve our teaching practice, and through that, it can improve the lives of our students. Computational thinking resources. I have several resources here, like No Fear Coding. Coding is really pretty simple. You don't have to be an expert at it to be able to teach it, but I promise you the students will surpass you very quickly. So this resource mentions students needing these dispositions, confidence in dealing with complexity, persistence in working with difficult problems, tolerance for ambiguity, the ability to deal with open-ended problems, and the ability to communicate and work with others to achieve a common goal or common solution. Okay, some of the characteristics of a 21st century teacher is that we have learner-centered classrooms. We know that all of our students are different and they all have different needs, so why don't we make sure that all of those needs are being covered? And students as producers. Students are allowed to use technology to be not just consumers, but producers, and create things like books, videos, blogs, infographics. They can code. We need to learn new technology. In order for us to teach the students new technology, we must be familiar with it. So we can't be afraid. We're going to have to just step out there and try the new technology. We aren't going to break anything. 21st century teachers go global. Try ditching that textbook sometimes and use the internet instead of the textbook. And maybe find interesting people from around the world to get your information from. And use smartphones in your classroom. Don't ban the technology that comes into your classroom. Use it. These kids come in with powerful technology. The younger students, not so much. I have a few students in 4th grade who come in with technology, but most of them don't. But if you're teaching the upper grades, why not utilize that technology, especially in districts where we don't have enough technology? We blog. We write to real audiences, not just us, but our students too. And this establishes a good digital footprint, and it also gives students a chance to have a real audience, someone really listening to what they're saying. We go digital. Paperless, not just for the sake of saving trees, but because it's more convenient, it's more organized, it's easier to comment on, it's easier for the students to revise and edit, it's easier for them to keep track of it year after year. And then we as 21st century teachers, we collaborate. So in the real world, our students are going to need to know how to collaborate. So we're going to need to collaborate with our students. We need to collaborate with our peers. We want to share ideas and resources and not just that, but build each other up as we're collaborating. And we want to collaborate globally. We might find information from another country, another teacher in another country. Use Twitter chats. So it's free and it's a great way to receive professional development. There's lots of great learning opportunities on Twitter, and you just have to find your hashtag. So go in there and hashtag look things up. And if you're interested in coding, just hashtag code, and you'll get all sorts of resources. 21st century tech teachers connect. They connect with teachers who can help us grow in our classroom, and you can help them as well. So it's kind of like a personal learning network. We have project-based learning. We allow our students the chance to follow their passions and to find out more about what they want to learn about. And so PBL is the perfect platform for that. And then we're going to build a positive digital footprint. We need to model to students how to be good digital citizens. We need to show them the appropriate ways to use the internet. We need to show them the appropriate ways to use a cell phone. They need to understand that. We code. If students cannot code, they are not literate in today's world. It is going to be required that everyone knows some sort of form of coding in the future. And if you can't code, you won't be literate and you won't be able to get the jobs that you want to get. You don't have to be an expert to teach it. And like I said before, the kids will quickly pass you up and start teaching you. We want to innovate. We want to try new ways of teaching, things we haven't tried before. We're going to expand our teaching toolbox and just learn as many new things as we can. And we'll be surprised how much we enjoy teaching. It really revitalizes your passion for teaching. And then we want to keep learning. We never want to stop learning. New tools, new pedagogy, innovative things to try. If you stop learning, then you become stale and stagnant. It just takes a few minutes a day, 10, 15, 20 minutes a day to keep learning. Improving our professional practice. Well, number one, you can join the ISTE standards community, and there's a link here to that. It's an open network dedicated to discussions and sharing resources and standards related to ISTE, and it gives you kind of something to lean back on, somewhere to go and look for help with this technology. On the other side, join the Computer Science Teacher Association, CSTA. It's a community focused on creating a strong environment to support K-12 teachers using computer science and technology. They're there to support you. And then create a professional learning network, a PLN. Search educational topics and join or follow these to begin with. So try Twitter. Try finding groups to join on Facebook. Join Pinterest and follow people. Find blogs and vlogs of people you like to follow. I personally have several that I follow on YouTube. And then find different educational websites like EduCause and TeachThink. I think that's it. But anyway, you want to find places to help you grow. And, don't end with just that. Use your teammates as well. Here is a bundle of teacher resources between Schoolology, Oracle, we've got Avid, 21 things for teachers, EduBadges, MakerBot. If you want to go into 3D printing, MakerBot is great. Google Training, if you want to get better at all the Google suites. And then there's some more. Student resources like Typing Club, Tinkercad. Tinkercad is where they can design 3D printing. And my kids love Typing Club and Tinkercad both. And then you have Ed Options Academy, Google's CS First. So that's the computer science, and they have some really great resources there. There's also 21 things for students, Brain Pop, computer learning kids, and just all sorts of resources here. And then here are my references, as well as my credits that I used SlideMania for my presentation.